Thank you, President Harrison and Alumni Association President Cherno. I had the pleasure of working with Ed Peckham and many of his staff from mid-1980s until his retirement on several issues involving Division of Student Affairs. So I then consider it a particular privilege to be receiving some sort of recognition named in his honor. I greatly appreciate Mark Stover, who is here, Dean of the Oviatt Library, for considering me for nomination of the award. I've been personally connected with CSUN since about 1973, when I taught a class part-time. And relatively late in my CSUN career, married a faculty colleague who had received his undergraduate and master's degrees at CSUN when it was San Fernando Valley State College back in the mid-1960s. So I tend to think that my CSUN roots are rather deep. And it was a no-brainer that when I retired in 2008, I would seek some sort of continuing relationship with CSUN. I finally decided that my primary, that is having limited energy and all the rest of it, my primary focus should be on women in science and engineering, a concern with which I've been involved since the early 1960s. And one would ask, why women in science and engineering? We live increasingly in a world that is dominated by science and technology and the ramifications, and social ramifications of science and technology. Yet the participation of women, which could bring so much intellectual and social capital to resolving and addressing those problems, is relatively low. And I will give you one quick example. I can give you a million of them. If you consider engineering in the United States, only about 13% of the practicing engineers in the workforce are currently female. The rest all being dominated by males. And there's nothing wrong with males, but they have a kind of different perspective than women do. Plus, why leave all those brainy women on the sidelines? Now that's an improvement from what it was in the early 1960s when I started out in the engineering profession. At that time it was 0.4 or 0.4% were female. So there weren't many colleagues of mine who were female. But note that it took 50 years to get from less than 1%, less than half of 1%, up to 13%. So a further concern is that you can't get women participating in science and engineering careers unless they earn degrees in those fields. And you would think by looking at the news that women now earn the majority of the degrees, college degrees in the United States across the board. Something like 52-53% now. You would think that that would have filtered down significantly into the science and engineering fields. For the most part, the answer to that is no. Enrollments in degree programs grew when they were developed from about the early 70s up until about 2000, and then for some reason, they started dropping off, including at CSUN. So you see this nice thing where there's this little curve that comes along, goes up a little bit, and then it starts going down. I haven't seen any signs of it slowing down yet. This is at a time when so many women are earning degrees and going into professions. So if we really want a real rounded science and technology world, I believe we need to pay attention to that. I figured that remedying the situation was something that was not likely to be accomplished in my lifetime, given that I was always already a senior it took 50 years to get that far, and I didn't have another 50 years. Thus was born the notion of picking up on something that I had started in the College of Engineering and Computer Science for students back in 1975, of establishing something that would be standalone and ongoing, and would likely, if the markets cooperated, outlive me. So I established the Women in Science and Engineering Endowment, and it's housed in the heart of the CSUN campus in the Oviatt Library. And I did that for a purpose, so that all of the different science and engineering and technology disciplines throughout the campus could be addressed, rather than burying it in one particular college or another. And I was wise enough to say we were going to have an advisory board of people who are talented, dedicated, and capable to administer something like this and help guide it over the years. And so we established an advisory board. Many of the members are here today. Some of them are CSUN alumni, some of them are associated with faculty. One of them was honored today. And so I want to take an opportunity here to publicly thank them for all that they have done and contributed to keeping things going. They hold events, Pi Day events for students, speakers, look for library acquisitions, hire a research fellow. So they've been very active in getting this going. In closing, thank goodness, right? In closing, I would like to extend my personal congratulations and appreciation to every single one of the people here today who is being honored, or who has been honored in the past, for their contributions to CSUN. This is certainly a worthy endeavor. Thank you.